Our next speaker is the founder of Nebulab, and if you spent any time at all in the Solidus community, you'll know who he is. I'm really looking forward to his talk, and not just because he's my boss. Please welcome Alberto Vena. His talk is pre-recorded, so bear with us after the intro as we get that set up. Alberto?
Hey there. I'm talking from our office in Pescara, so but please don't tell anyone since I'm not supposed to be here. But I think that it's the best place where to present from. As Sean said, my presentation is recorded, so for me it will be a little bit weird to watch myself, but I'm ready, and I really hope to enjoy it. So talk later.
Hello Solidus community, I'm Alberto Vena, I'm co-founder and director at Nebulab and proud core team member of Solidus. At Nebulab, I'm famous because I have a curse. People spell my name wrong. Seriously, I continuously get emails or Slack messages with funny version of my name. Common occurrences are Albero, which means tree in Italian, or albergo, which means hotel, and they even do that with my last name. Besides posting screenshots of emails with my name spelled wrong, in our company Slack, my units Nebulab are being sure everybody in the team is enabled to work to the best of their ability. Happy and proud of the company they join. I'm also in charge with the other directors of finding new talents and talking to new clients that want to work with us to figure out if there's a good fit. I don't have many other things to say about my work experience. I've actually only worked at Nebulab so far. In fact, when I completed my computer science degree, I decided to join a company that would allow me to contribute to open source while also earning some money. I couldn't find a company, the kind of company where I live, so I founded Nebulab with other talented guys. Our first client wanted to build an online store. We went with Spree 0.11, and now here I am talking to you about what to expect from Solidus. Oh shit, how did I get into this mess? As you may know, at Nebulab we've seen the evolution of Spree and Solidus over a long time, and we are very proud to be part of it. We have met a lot of friends in the community and conferences around the world, and we are so happy to still be here together with some of them today. The Solidus community is used to Clark's State of Solidus talks, where he presented what had been achieved and Stamble's plan for the future. This year, this talk is on me, and I have to warn you that this one will be a little bit different. Anyway, if you like the Clark speech style, you may want to listen to this later at double the speed. Seriously, I'm not a native English speaker, so forgive my mistakes and my slowness. Also, it's my first conference talk, and even if it's virtual and recorded, I'm still excited, and I'm giving my best to make this talk a pleasant experience for you all. Today, we will talk about the history of Solidus and the lesson learned from the past. We'll talk about what Solidus looks like today and what we'd like Solidus to be in the next few years. Since Stambles left, we haven't given a lot of updates about what's going on behind the scenes, so there's quite a lot to say. This was partially because we were working on reorganizing the Solidus governance, and we didn't want to provide information that would have changed again soon, creating a sense of instability. Before we start, let me take a second to express my feelings about Solidus. I want to show you this picture that still represents one of the best moments in my career. The picture of the moment when Clark, during his keynote in SolidusConf 2017 in London, announced that I was joining the core team of Solidus. This moment was a dream come true for me. Wait, do you notice anything wrong? I told you. And someone also tweeted the picture with my name spelled wrong. Come on, man, it's just copy-paste. And also, I'm not kidding, someone used the wrong Nebula Twitter handle, which is actually nebula_IT. Okay, let's get serious and let's start with a super quick recap of Solidus history. In 2014, Spree was great. Ryan Big improved the project a lot, and Spree was following the race path in the software industry, a huge growth and adoption. In 2015 and 16, Spree sucks. All the improvements were made around Wombat to please the investors. They kinda failed with this business model and sold the company. The open source community needed an alternative, and everybody started looking for something else. Stambolt already had a valid product, Solidus, a fork of Spree. In 2017 and 2018, Solidus and Stambolt were great. The work John Hawthorne did solidified the code base in a way that is still making a huge difference. And I can tell you how many things I learned by only reviewing his code and talking with him in our core team meetings. In 2018, Solidus sucks. Stambolt has been acquired and the project has lost its main contributors again. Everybody, including ourselves, was tired and frustrated, but in some way this was also an opportunity to fix some of the things that weren't working in Solidus. Unfortunately, open source is often used as a tool for gaining and consolidating power, even by well-intentioned individuals and companies. This was happening in our community as well. All power around the project was held by a single company that in exchange was providing what Solidus needed. Everything seemed to work, but it was a fake sense of stability. When they left, the community had no future. Of course, unless another company, greedy for taking that power, decided to step up and take that role. But we couldn't fall in the same trap again. We needed to fix this together as a community, and we started a conversation with other people interested in the future of the project. A Slack channel called Solidus Stakeholders started to be populated with different perspectives, ideas, and feedback from all over the world. And you know what? It took time, effort, and dedication, but we found a solution. Instead of having a single entity maintaining, controlling, and taking most of the benefits out of Solidus, we could invest in the project together as a community. We scheduled a weekly meeting and started working together as a group to reach this goal. The idea is quite simple. We have a virtual bucket that is filled by donations from stakeholders and any other member of the community. The stakeholder group, during their meetings, proposes and votes on how to spend money that was collected to improve Solidus and its community. Only those who contribute to this bucket are entitled to vote on initiative proposed by the group. And votes are weighted based on each entity's financial contribution. That's it. Simple, democratic, and powerful. Snap your fingers and it works? Oh boy, no. The group is made by several players, like agencies, retailers, and individual contributors. And of course, everyone has different interests and goals, and everyone is using and contributing to Solidus in different ways. Getting this compressed group to agree on what to do with shared funds needs many trade-offs and reconciliations. So we decided to create a public roadmap that would act as a shared plan to improve the platform. We tried several approaches to have a concrete list of tasks to do, and sometimes we failed and started from scratch, but this process allows us to listen to other people's perspectives and allow us to get probably the most important thing that we were missing. Think about Solidus not just a piece of software, but rather as a product in itself. This was a big switch in terms of how we approached developing new things in Solidus, balancing the cost of implementation and maintenance with the value that each task provides to the businesses using Solidus. We also learned that being so strong technically is useless if we cannot convince the right people to use our product. Solidus is technically excellent, but we couldn't communicate the business value it creates to all the decision makers in its target market. It was quite easy to convince the CTO, but almost impossible with any other C-level. Why? Let's see the difference between a framework and a platform. We often misuse this word because open source is full of frameworks and platforms, and sometimes it's hard to find a clear line between the two. Frameworks are reusable pieces of software that allow you to build your application without reinventing the wheel. They provide tools, libraries, and best practice that allow expanding an application, but to reach a decent level of flexibility, you need to master the framework. Platforms provide all the tools needed to run an application. All these tools are pre-shaped and it's straightforward to connect them, but often difficult or sometimes impossible to change them. In Solidus, we were only listening to the developers' needs, without giving them the tools to support their decision within the rest of their company. We were focusing on Solidus as a framework, but neglecting it as a platform. We think Solidus should be in the middle field, and we wanted to take the best of both worlds. On one hand, we want Solidus to preserve its customizability and still be easy to integrate with other pieces of technology. On the other, we want to build an ecosystem of solutions that will transform a fantastic software product into something that can be seen as the right choice by all the people involved in the decisional process. At the same time, we want to keep Solidus' nature as close as possible to its origins. Code quality, flexibility, and modularity can be impacted by this process, because they still represent the core advantage of using our product. Many of the issues I mentioned still need to be fixed, but we are definitely in a better position now than we were 3 years ago. All the commitments and all the effort we are putting into Solidus are driving it in the right direction. In fact, today Solidus has a stronger community than ever and a clear path forward. But the reality is that a single company is still doing the majority of the work. And we need more time to keep explaining to Solidus user why it is so important to give the control back to its base to really be considered open and free. Don't get me wrong, Nebula is more than happy to be able to give back to Solidus, and we will do that anyway because it's part of our core belief of giving back to open source. However, the ultimate goal of the stakeholders group is to be able to directly implement the Solidus roadmap and look after the community's continued growth. As a member of both the stakeholders group and Nebula, I'm proud of all the things that we are doing. We are joining forces and working together to improve the platform by adding features that provide more value to our users, and we also adjusted our communication to make it easier for non-technical decision makers to understand Solidus. I have to say a huge thank you to all the people and companies involved in the stakeholders group. We met every week with commitment, enthusiasm, and devotion, but more importantly, we acted as a team to improve the platform together. Each and every one of you has been critical for Solidus' success. but a special mention goes to the other gold partners that, along with Nebula, are making a considerable difference by regularly donating to the platform and showing up in our meetings every single week to prove how much they care about this beautiful community and how much they trust this project. It doesn't matter that we are competitors, we are delighted to have you by our side, so thank you, super good and Karma Creative. Joining forces allow us to deliver a huge amount of improvements for Solidus. We are redesigning the content of the Solidus.io website to speak to all sorts of decision makers without neglecting the developer's perspective. And you can already see some of our work right there on the website. We started to talk less about the features that we have and more about the opportunities that those features creates to a business, laying the foundation of why choosing Solidus is a great idea. We added use cases and industries pages to explain where Solidus excels. We transformed the whole extensions compatibility matrix into something that can provide value even to non-technical people. We added a security page that explained the action that we are taking to make Solidus as secure as possible. We also added a dedicated section in the menu for the developers, with all the resources that they frequently need. And in parallel, we started aligning the Solidus brand image to the admin look and feel. We also organized 2 conferences, one in Salt Lake City last year and this one. We also organized a recurring virtual meetup with the community to share platform knowledge. Finally, we re-established a communication channel with the world outside of GitHub and Slack, restoring all the social media accounts and starting a monthly newsletter to have a recurring delivery of what's happening in the project. In terms of technology, I can't count how many things we did during the last year. We added a lot of new capabilities to bring real value to business in form of core improvements and extensions. Each of them fixes a specific problem our users were experiencing. I'd love to talk about them with you now, but we don't have enough time, so please check out the roadmap on Solidus.io website and reach out to me if you have any question on the things that we have done. Now, let's talk about next steps for Solidus in our vision. We think that at the moment, the most crucial thing for Solidus is increasing its adoption. Making the community grow, we will have more companies that will share knowledge and give back in form of real-world experience and code. The path to do that, however, is difficult. Ruby is not as appealing as it was 10 years ago, and we are being impacted on the current language adoption rate on Solidus as well. We now have to fight other platforms like Shopify, which are way better than us at communicating with the slice of the market that represents our main target, and that we overlooked in the past. We need to keep being more empathetic with that target by thinking about their needs and every step of the way. And we also need to clearly and strongly present the business value that our initiatives create for brands using Solidus. We have to keep improving the website to communicate where and how Solidus shines. The flexibility Solidus provides is unmatched in Shopify, BigCommerce, and even in most open source competitors. There are many features that we've provided for years that could be game changers for some businesses and that our competitors are still struggling to add to their products. We need to tell the stories of the brands that use Solidus and have scaled their technology and their team. If you have such a story to tell, please get in touch with me and we can work with that together. We are also starting an enterprise support plan. It's still in the early stage, but the idea is that we can take advantage of the best Solidus firms spread across the world to offer high availability support to stores that want an extra layer of safety for their business. We will launch a screencast series where we explain how to use, customize, and update Solidus, and the best practice on working in a Solidus team that we learned in many years of experience with it. For the technology side, you can expect Solidus development to focus on what's described in the roadmap. We will add more events to the core to make room for a truly event-driven architecture. We will create new starter front-ends with modern technologies like Next.js and GraphQL. We will improve internationalization support, making it even more straightforward for stores to sell in multiple markets. And we will also allow to easily sync your catalog with other channels like Facebook and Amazon. I have talked about what's changing, but what about the stuff that doesn't change? From what we have seen during these years, Solidus is not the right fit for everyone, but is still an excellent option for a big slice of the market. Solidus has always been and will keep being a great choice for those who need the freedom to innovate and invest in technology. It's a great option for those who want no restriction on how they customize their storefronts and their integrations. It's a great option for those who want to have an end-to-end control over their brain's data. But the decisional process dramatically changed over the years. And we need to make sure Solidus resonates with all the decision makers and stakeholders involved in the choice for an e-commerce platform. We already defined a process that allows us to continue improving our technical capabilities, and we are trying to make it work under the stakeholders' governance, which represents the first step towards a future where Solidus is independent from the work of a single company and gives the power back to the community. Until that happens, Nebula, we will continue to invest in the stakeholders group, and we will help you in any way we can. But we need the help of the whole community to make this dream come true. Here are a couple of things you or your company can do to help Solidus. You can help financially with a monthly donation via our Open Collective page. By donating, your company can be part of the Solidus roadmap decision-making process and have a voice in the platform future. You'll also have a substantial direct advantage because helping to hire full-time maintainers means improving the platform that powers your business. Or you can help by contributing via code or documentation. Take some time to contribute to open source. It can be 1 day or 1 hour per week. My suggestion is to create a recurring event in your calendar so that you are less likely to miss it. The benefits are tremendous. You will acquire competence on Solidus, you will be able to advertise your professionalism on GitHub, and you'll end up having a more stable platform. Here are my contacts. Please get in touch with me to discuss if you want to start a new project with Solidus, if you're facing any technical challenges using Solidus, or just to complain about Solidus. Thank you very much.